Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Paperized live stream. Today we're working on Google Drive, Google API integration, because Paperize is a serverless application. But just because you're serverless and there's literally no backend, that doesn't mean that there's no data to store and work with, so that you can, for instance, use the app on different browsers or share things with people, etc. My core insight is to just never store that data myself as the business of Paperize. Instead, let users store their own data, so there's never any question of how it's being used or who's looking at it. The answer is no one. The answer is only people that you allow, because you're in full control, because it's your Google Drive. Barring Google, looking at stuff themselves. I'm trying a few new things today. You can probably see the stream has some stuff in the sidebar there. I've got my to-do list where it says current goals, and I'm going to work on that live, kind of build out what we're up to. Let me just go ahead and do some of that now, and you'll see. The first thing I'm going to do is sketch the workflow. That's not the best word, but we'll sketch the I'm just going to say sketch the workflow, test drive, initial stories, and what else? I don't know. The thing about the API is I had to ask Google for permission to use it because I needed full permissions. I need to be able to write to it, delete things, etc. I actually don't need to delete things, but I need to be able to load your data and update it, which is essentially the same thing as deleting if it's something I wasn't supposed to delete. So I had to ask for special permission. I had to apply for that. That application is out, so the API will not work today. That's fine. I've got Cypress. I've got powerful testing tools. I can mock out the data returns and still work on the app in the absence of its remote collaborators, which is really cool. Welcome to the modern web. Yeah, so you can see that on the sidebar there underneath my average looking mug. There's a list of to-do items that changed as I updated, so that's actually a little Trello embed in OBS, which is pretty cool. I've got chat embedded in the stream now as well. We'll see how that goes. It's going to be crickets today, I'm sure, but please, if you're watching, say something. And then across the bottom, you see I've got the Paperize.io branding and a little scrolling marquee. Scrolling marquee is kind of iffy. I don't love having something moving at all times, and it definitely feels like the 90s web a bit, for those of you who were around and remember that. I'm not using any blink tags, so rejoice in that. We'll see how the marquee goes. I do need a way to kind of show lots of different information. I want to put credits in there. I'm listening, if you can hear the audio, I don't know, I'm going to have to come back and test that, but the audio today is provided by ChillHop, which you can see here in the background, and we've got them running on Spotify. ChillHop is someone who does royalty-free music, so you can stream it like I'm doing here. Helps me fill the dead airspace between me umming and thinking and all this stuff, so big thanks to ChillHop for creating what they create. They totally deserve credit, and you deserve to check them out, take a look at them. Okay, let's dive in. Let's talk about the Google Drive API. I'm going to grab myself a... Whoa! Oh, man, my keyboard is doing some weird stuff. I'm going to have to get that replaced. It's terrible. It's like repeating key presses. Anyway, what am I going to do? I'm going to jump in to this cool open source app called Precursor that makes it really easy to sketch things. Okay, let me type some things out first. So, what are the states? The starting states are like someone who's never used Paperize, and also a browser that's never had Paperize used on it. let's say person and browser never use Paperize. And then there's this part where person has used, browser has not. And then, let me see, can I just scroll around? Oh man, Precursor is too cool. I should probably be adhering to these. Hello, can I please type? There we go. And then browser has used, person has not. And finally, I don't know why this isn't letting me type easier. There we go. Person and browser have used Paperize. Or have used. I'm just going to say that. Let me switch over to be easier to move these. Okay. If I say this easier, I don't know if my audience knows what I'm saying, but let's make it a little clearer. Let's have a has the user or browser ever used Paperize? And then I'll change these to be like person and browser, yes. And then this will be person, yes. Browser, no. Person, no. Browser, yes. And then finally, oh yeah, person and browser, yes. And actually this first one should have been no. I'm going to start with no. No is like the empty state. Okay, so we've got their little grid. This is a Precursor app, and it's precursorapp.com, and Precursor is itself a piece of open source software. I haven't used it much. I'm not like super swearing by it, but holy cow, it's really cool to just like dive in and start throwing stuff around, and I just love open source software. I need to do a thing where I explain all the tools I use, all the open source tools I use. I'll get to that one day. Precursor would be a great example. Okay, let me look at, is my server running? My server is running. Let's look at Paperize itself. Let me log out. Okay, this is my marketing lander, but really I think we're going to drop this in favor of like a splash page and just let the Patreon have all the marketing stuff. So the splash page will be like, hey, get started. Alternatively, like a what is this kind of thing. And that what is this will go to Patreon. Maybe we can knock that out real quick. Let's jump into the code. Let's go do that. Well, let's add that to my to-do list. Clean up splash page. And I'll say I'm going to do that first. Cool. And that changed in the live stream. Yes, very cool. Okay. Right. So I'm gonna reduce all this. This is just like lorem ipsum, like placeholder stuff. Anyway, I'll come back to it one day. I really fleshed this out when I was first starting with Vuetify to teach myself how the grid worked and stuff. So, nice as it is. Nice as it is, let's make it a splash page instead. Let me clean up what I've got on my screen here. And, alright, let's head down to components. Clear up all this stuff. Alright, lib components. Oh, I actually have a splash page. Well, hey, look at that. Oh yeah, this is what it's called, splash page. Great. This view embed thing is the only thing I need to like remember, because it's a weird thing that embeds the gist that shows the roadmap, and it's disabled in test, so that's nice. I'm gonna pull that out. I'm gonna delete everything else. All right, so I've got my embed hidden there. Just gonna put a hello message and see what it looks like. Looks like nothing. I need to open my console so I can bust my cache. There we go. Okay, yeah. So this this splash component obviously is sitting right there. Do I have? Yeah. So this is the view inspector, which is pretty cool. VApp, navigation, title bar, content, footer. I mean, look into the content, and the content has the splash page, which is the router view. So that's cool. Huh. Man, the view tools are just so cool. I am loving view. Not slowing down on that at all. Okay, let's make this easy. I'm going to have two components, one on the left and one on the right. Is it that simple? Let's play with it. Okay. Let's say V layout, row, fluid, V flex, XS6. There'll be two of those. Dot header. Come on, this keyboard thing is crazy. Left, right. Let's see what that looks like. Left and right. Okay, I've got my two. Man. So my Flexbox foo is pretty weak still. But I'd like to be able to kind of mess with that. Oh, and I've got dot header, and it should be headline, right? Yes, I knew that. Okay, I'll put the get started on the left. And what is Paperize on the right? Throw some text in here, why not? Let's make some awesome marketing copy. That was a joke. Paperize is the free, as in free, tabletop game prototyping tool for kids, teachers, facilitators, and industry professionals. Let's say game design professionals. And there's that text. Even though I said I was just going to link to Patreon, which I'll do now. V button. Is it just an href? Is that how? I think so. Patreon.com/Paperize. Learn more. Okay, learn more now goes to the Patreon. Very good. And on the get started side, there'll just be a V button. It's sign in with Google. How does that work? How does that work? That works by doing, I'm sorry, I'm looking at a different page now. There's this whole pop-up helper. How do I trigger this from That's something I deleted. Let's look at the diff, because I just trashed some code that I need. Click get started. So does that mean I've already got this set up? Methods get started. Oh, it doesn't do anything. Wait a minute. What? What did I do? Oh, maybe that get started button just didn't work. That would be fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. Back to this profile widget that does the actual logging in. This thing is just I've got a pop-up helper built in. A dialogue that helps you with Google. Yep, so that's what we're going to be working on today. I guess I will leave that alone for the moment because we're probably going to end up extracting it and making it awesome. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Let's see what this looks like anyway. Sign in with Google, there we go. And we can make the button green, I think, yep. That was easy. Keep wanting to align stuff, but I'm just like really bad with the grid components. I'm gonna make a note to myself real quick. It says learn Viewtify layout. It's just grid. It's just Flexbox, but I went and taught myself Flexbox, but I don't quite know how Viewtify implements Flexbox. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know how many Viewtify has containers, layouts, and flex elements. And I don't know how many containers and layouts you're supposed to have. Like, can you nest a layout inside a layout and that kind of thing? And where do I actually put the flex directives to make it work? So I will figure that out on my own so as not to waste time on stream. But at any rate, okay, we have this. All right, now my question, let's jump back over. Is this done? Am I done sketching the splash? Clean up splash page. Yeah, I cleaned it up. It's clean. Still have privacy policy at the bottom. Yeah, we're looking good. We're looking good. We're not throwing crazy errors. Okay. Okay, back to the precursor sketch. Okay, so my question now, based on whether or not the person or the browser has used Paperize before, does the splash screen change? I think the answer right now is no. You don't see anything here, but when you pop this thing over, logging in with Google, this is going to have the magic. This is where it's going to know, hey, you've logged in before. These accounts are sitting here. Do you want to hop back in, etc. Sorry, I'm thinking. I think we actually, let's see, person yes browser. I think this state doesn't matter because the browser can't show you anything different if it's never been. It has no idea. So I think that state's not going to exist. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Close that, and this thing knows. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what does this this thing look like? Back to sketching. If the I'm just going to sketch that little popover. Neither the person nor the browser have been here. Okay, so log in with Google. I don't know. I should keep not knowing if I'm splitting hairs here. I mean, what's going to be different with any of this stuff? Like if you're not logged in, you have to log in. I think if I just start storing everything in Google and erasing it out of the browser every time, I think that's the way to go. Yeah, well, let me pull up my drawing. I made this a few streams ago. This kind of illustrates what I'm kind of dealing with here. So the app gets served from S3, a dumb server that doesn't know anything, and then everything runs in the browser. As it works, it stores everything in local storage, which is inside the browser. But it also syncs it to your Google Drive, and that's here. But I think what I'm doing now is dropping this local storage first model and saying, hey, you've got to log into Google Drive. You've got to create a database file there. And then what exists in local storage is like the working memory from this like persisted data in your drive. So I think the idea is that and then when you leave, if you log out, it'll wipe the local storage. It'll make sure everything's synced to drive and wipe the local storage. So local storage will actually never be any the wiser. The browser will never know that it's used Paperized before. And that'll be fine because there's only one way to use it, and that's via Google Drive today. A lot of this is me simplifying too. It's not the way it'll be in the fullness of time necessarily, but it's like the way it needs to be first. And then we can add, and then we can, a lot of web development like this, or development in general, where you want to stick to something simple for obvious reasons, but picking what gets built first, what gets built core, and what gets built later, and what gets built as like a view on core functionality kind of thing. You got to kind of determine what's core and what is simply visual, simply like a different way of looking at what's core. And typically when you nail that, you're set. But if you don't nail it, you can be fighting it forever, hacks upon hacks upon hacks, trying to make your data look better, trying to make everything kind of work the way you need it to. Okay. So I think this whole sketching exercise was kind of maybe not what I needed. But it may help me envision what I'm going to build faster. So maybe we'll, let's delete these. We're going to stop this discussion of used it or not. And like, let's change it to not logged in. Logging in. And Logged in, logging out, logged out. Maybe there isn't a logged out because it's just the same as not logged in, but we'll see. Log in with Google. So maybe this just stays as it is, which is currently just a helper window telling you to go look for this other one. Gosh, I feel like I'm making some bad video right now since I just don't know what I'm doing. So if you're not logged in, this whole thing really should be over here. This is logging in. Log in with Google. This is help text about the pop-up. It's so weird to me that Google uses pop-ups, but I understand. It's the only way to get like a secure, like this is a Google window. It's not like attached to anything in my web page, so Google can like do all of the security things it needs. It's just weird to be like going back to pop-ups, the scourge that they used to be. Can I? Ooh. You'd think this app would let you like resize things or something. Or something. Oh, look at that. Oh my god, keyboard shortcuts to the rescue. Help text about the pop-up. Sorry, I'm still thinking through this. Let's leave this over here. We'll say that that's what you see. That's what you see, you know, when you click login, but you're not even logging in yet. Once you're logging in, what's happening? Hello. Oh, switch to. No. Once you're logging in, this is like loading your database. Oh, this is where person matters, right? So browser doesn't matter, but person matters. Because the person either has, okay, so loading your database, so is data in standard location? User defines data location. And I've got to be careful because this stuff is hard to kind of assume what I'm going to need in advance. But yeah, this is key. Auto load data from standard location. And those will split. So there will be some standard location like like a Paperize directory. Go figure. Paperize directory in the base of your Google Drive. And if that's there, then we know to go in there and look for it and see. Sorry, my wife just sent me something concerning. Never mind. It wasn't concerning. Right, so logging in. So this is where we pick. Okay, this is cool. This is working. We're getting there. We're getting there. Figuring it out. Just trying not to be nervous because I'm on camera. So, standard location. Okay, let's do that. Let's say that. Okay, so logging in. Data exists in standard. So let's say standard DB exists. So just say loading your database. Love it. Okay. Now let's copy all this. No standard DB exists. Then it will be like what will it do? Should it just create one automatically? Just yeah, it should. Well, it should ask you. It should pre-populate. You're probably a first-time user if you don't have a standard database. So you say, welcome, new user. And then your options are to like just go forward with the standard location, to choose a special location, or to point to a special location you've already chosen where a database is, which are kind of the same thing. Welcome to user. Where would you like to store your database? And then that'll be like drive / Paperize / database.json. And it's like it's something like that as the database. It's that kind of that easy. And then it's like okay or customize. Yeah, so if there's no, you log into Drive, there's not a file where I expect there a file to be, then I'm assuming you've never used Paperize before. Because even if you've started using special location databases, you probably still have a generic database where the, from whatever, when you first used it. I would think everyone will have a generic one, and then they'll use custom locations for different projects, different collaborators, what have you. And the customize can do double duty, depending on the I could probably search Drive and find a database.json. But that's too generic a file name for that, so I should probably call it Paperize database.json. I'm going to go that route. That might be good thinking. ppzdb. ppcdb.json. Oh my god. I hate bad names for things. Everyone wants to abbreviate everything. It's just like not important. Computer doesn't care, you know? Paperize/paperize database.json. That's cool. And then you can search for that, find it elsewhere if you don't find it in the default place. And then you could just type here to edit it. Well, I have to decide like how everything is stored, because I think really you don't point to the JSON file, you point to a folder, and then Paperize like manages that folder. I'd like that. Like I would like to kind of be in a walled garden, a safe zone inside your drive. Like I don't want to be messing with your drive files in general. Kind of bummed that I have to ask for those permissions anyway. I really just want the permissions on individual folders that you give me access to. So yeah, so while the file name Paperize database.json is probably means it's probably helpful to look for that, because the folders could be named anything, but I bet we'll have the database name itself always be the same. But the project folder is key. Project folder name. This is good. I'm still pretty confused, but I'm closing in on something. I'm like exploring things in advance, which is good. So right, so if it found one there, it just starts loading it. And if they decide they want to use a different one, they can click something that'll bring this up. Anyway, where would you like to store your DB? You know what? I'm like, I don't need to be doing any of this. Users aren't used to having multiple DBs in the first place, right? Like you go to a website, you don't expect Google to be like, which of our databases? They don't give you that option. So this is kind of a newfangled thing in the first place. And I just need to get the standard thing working. So like, so this is like an eventual. Eventually that. But today, maybe it says loading, maybe it says creating, whatever. So like, you just go look for it where I think it should be, and if it's not there, you put it there. put it there. Okay, and then both of those, either way, just goes to the game manager state. Oops. Game manger. That's not the worst thing I've heard. Game manager, which it'll pick you up from there. So the game manager, so if you're the first time user, then the game manager will be empty, and it's up to me to have a cool empty state that pushes you forward. You know, get you started. But if you aren't a first time user, then your game manager won't be empty and you'll jump straight to it, and that's all cool. The next trick is logging out, which I don't do this yet, but I need to. Make a copy of that one and let's head it up here. Okay, let's edit this thing. Logging out, and it's like, you know, I don't know what really needs to be said, but what's happening is erasing local copy of database. Erase the local copy and also, shucks. Syncing to drive. You know? And yeah, and that leaves us kind of with an empty state again. Back to this. So, can we write some code now? It's much easier that way. I think I got this really simple. It was kind of hard to talk through, especially live, knowing I'm being recorded. Broadcast even, but this makes me pretty happy. Let me just, for good measure, write splash here. You arrows? I bet you can. Oh no, it's just a line. I should probably read the docs on this thing, on this Precursor app. But hey, it's really cool. It's really easy to use. Right, so let's review. So when you're not logged in, you signal that you want to log in, and you get a helpful pop-up. Google gives you a pop-up. I give you a helpful pop-over that directs you to the pop-up. Helps you unblock pop-ups if you need. Tells you if you close it without logging in. Tells you if you refuse the permissions, whatever. You basically can't. If you don't use the pop-up and get through it, then you can't use Paperize. So that's what this is all about, just helping you get there. Now, once you've gotten through it and you are logging in, there's some code. I gotta write. This is the code I gotta write. That looks for your database in Google Drive, and if it finds it, loads it. And if it doesn't find it, creates it and loads it. Either way, you're going to end up at your game manager. Let me make a note here about helpful empty state. Oops. So you need the game manager itself needs to usher you forward if you are a noob. If you are a newbie. Glorious, wonderful newbie. And then you do what you want while you're logged in. You use the app. You become rich by publishing amazing board games that are well prototyped and play tested. Shocking and awing everyone on the planet. And once that's done, you log out. And when you log out, it's always the same. We sync to drive anything that's unsynced to drive. And then we erase it locally. That's it, man. That's how that works. That's how that works. I need a coffee refill, so I'm going on break. I'll be back in, 60 seconds or so. Okay, I'm almost back. I'm back. I got coffee. I microwaved it so it's hot. And then I got myself some of these off-brand Aldi's, Reese's peanut butter cup thingies. Delicious. This is not a health live stream, if anyone was wondering. Okay. I like that. Let's go and mark that off. Sketch the workflow. That was harder than I thought. The next item on my list was to test drive the initial stories. Yeah. Close enough. Let's do it. All right, first things first. we need to start up Cypress. This is where having fantastic testing tools comes in. Obviously, I don't want to pound on Google's API. More than that, I can't pound on Google's API. Holy cow, Cypress has an update. What is it real quick? I'm using 3.1. Oh, 3.1.1. Flag. Oh. Yeah, you know. Great work, Cypress. Looks like a bunch of bug fixes and nice stuff. Wow, haven't had a release in months. Looks about like me. Close this stuff. Right. So I'm not going to worry with installing that right now. It's not stopping me. Let's look at the profile component. That one is the one that has login stuff. Yeah, so this is weak. All this is doing is testing, like, to make sure the word sign in appears and stuff like that. This doesn't do really what I want it. This doesn't even kind of approach what we're about to work on. Let me see if there's anything else. What is a splash page check? Probably just that some text exists. Oh yeah, all the stuff I just deleted. Where's the get started call to action? Get started. Oh yeah, there it is. Sign in, Paperize.io, great. Has benefits. Yeah, alright. I'm not real sure how we're going to test drive this, but we're just going to dive in and see what we can figure out. I think we'll keep doing the. We'll probably do it in the profile component. Even though I didn't test that helpful pop-up I have, but let's see what we're working with. Here's the profile component. I'm just gonna drop down into the guts of it. Oh yeah, not a whole lot of stuff happens here. And that's kind of nice. Yeah, I've got an action called login. This is actually something I saw on Reddit just yesterday about your Vuex, your Vuex. Let's say Vuex. Your Vuex store. The actions in there can grow and grow and grow. Like, you're supposed to keep as little of that state management, as little of anything as possible in components. But which kind of leads you to, if you're using Vuex, to start using it that way. For everything. Any like work that gets done that's not just visual stuff for the component needs to go somewhere, and it ends up going into actions. But that kind of causes your Vuex store to turn into everything. In this case, including login. And I don't know if that's appropriate, but this map actions is so nice. It makes it easy to kind of bring stuff in, but it's kind of a I mean, JavaScript can do nice stuff too. I mean, this stuff right here. It's nice. Okay. What am I using auth for? I'm not. There's a. You know, I need to get my ESLint to work for Vue components. Is that something I can do? It's probably like a it's probably a setting that I haven't got configured for my existing ESLint. That's fine. You know, because that should have been found. ESLint's very vocal when you've got stuff you're not using. Oh, map state. I'm not using map state anymore either. Oh, there you go. We just got to delete some code. I love deleting code. Oh my god. No code is faster than no code. Oh. Blew out my screens. That's weird. Okay. Don't know why my stream cuts out like that either. I thought it was just the screen capture, but the webcam did it too, so I don't know what's having a brain fart there. Okay, I want to see. So we've got login. Where's this stuff happen? I think there's a user thing in the store. Login, yeah. Right, and this login, this wraps the Google library. Google is itself a module. Dispatch Google login flow. When you come back, you're a Google user or you've got an error. And then this extracts all the stuff I care about out of the Google user. And I'm looking for a place to stub so that actual API calls aren't made. Google Store. See, here's ESLint working appropriately. I am not using Vue. Great. Gone. What this one? Oh, commit is never used. That's kind of funny. Done. Delete more code. Delete more code. We're making progress today, folks. If all we do is delete code all day, that's brilliant. But I know it doesn't make for good TV. It's fine. Google login flow. So this is where it uses that auth-lib that I've made. Get auth2, sign in. Resolve the Google user, reject with whatever the error is. Reject with wrap it in a JavaScript error, probably Google does something janky. Google logout. And these are promises, you know, like this, yeah. And we're all inside of a promise in the first place. It's pretty concise, though. I mean, it's a nice, it's an easy thing to mock. And I can just resolve or reject based on what I'm trying to do. But we've got to add new code now that after you log in, that it automatically looks for the database. So I'm going to pick where that goes. This is how I'm doing the sheets to get your stuff out of your sheets. Something similar to that's going to have to happen. Okay. Let's get a test going. I'm going to jump in that profile spec. Okay, without login, we see sign in. With a login, we see our name, etc., etc. All right, so in the context of without a login, let's do some logging in. We're going to describe logging in. We're going to sorry. What are we doing? We're gonna with standard DB and without standard DB. With a standard database, it loads the data it also tells you what it's doing. Tells what it's doing. That's just like that help message that you'll see. And then loads the data, and we'll figure out how to determine that all of that is happening. Okay, without standard DB, creates and loads the default data. Default's the wrong word. And let's say it initializes and loads. Initializes and loads the database. Initialize kind of says better things, right? Okay, we kind of have a test skeleton here. Now, what do I want to do with that? Maybe, okay, let's start without standard database. Great. Back over to Cypress. We're going to run the profile specs. Great. It does nothing. But it did load what I was trying to do. Great. Okay, what should we have this test do? This test should... What are we doing? We're taking for granted that they log in successfully. So we're going to pick up after this login flow has returned a user. So I can stub this to hand a user back, a user that I can make a further API request with to get their drive info. And I see I have this login. I've made a Cypress helper. View helpers. Let me see if login is in here. Login. Right, so all this login does, it skips the whole thing. Oh, come on. Sorry. Login just skips the whole thing and crams a user into the local store, which fools paper eyes into thinking that you're logged in, and suddenly the app starts working that way, which is cool. And I was really just looking at that to make sure I wasn't forgetting anything. overlooking anything. But let's see. Okay, so I'm going to have it click. So there's this sign in. We know that it contains sign in, so let's... So we will stub Google login flow. So that it will return immediately and hand you a thing, and then we will stub Google Drive query, which doesn't exist yet. Whoa. Right, so then we'll click sign in and it will, the promise will resolve that you're logged in. Then the promise will resolve that you found what you wanted in the drive. We can make assertions about the text you see along the way. And we can make assertions about the state when you're done, which should be pretty much empty. Great. Let's try that. Okay. I'm just going to run this because the sign in is going to, you know, start the whole login flow, which it did. Popped up and everything. Great. So is that the case that if I just what is user expecting? So user, that login thing is going to get called, and it's going to dispatch this Google login flow. So I could stub this so that it comes out right here. And as long as that Google user thing has these. Okay, let me see if I can figure out how to stub that. Let's see if we can figure out how to stub the login flow. Stub view action. Oh, he's just replaced the whole store. So he's just using a fake store. Mocking with modules. What's this mount? Oh. Don't know what that is. Whoa. Well, official docs are usually better. Okay, yeah, well, create local view. That's kind of interesting. Okay, so he loaded the actions. He or she loaded the actions. Is that getting used again? Oh, action shallow mount from view test utils. That's cool. Did not know about the view test utils. I'm gonna make a quick note. Learn view test utils. Because clearly I need to be doing that. That deserves a Reese's. These are great. These are like unit tests, you know, really shallow. They're not rendering components and things. Which I do prefer when I can get away with it, but I'm trying to kind of start with Cypress and do the broad tests from the interface and then zoom into unit tests after I kind of get that nailed down. We'll see if that continues, if that's still working for me. Right, well, one sec, because I have other tests that are probably doing this. Let me just look. Not the splash page, not the game manager. Oh, you know, I'm probably not doing any of these, but rather in that helper. Let's look at that helper again. Oh, I can get a hold of view right here. Side.view. That's what I did. I made window.paperize.store equal the view store so I could mess with it directly. So I can call side.view and get a hold of it. And then it's a little hacky, but let's see what we can do. Side.viewx, sorry, it's viewx, I think. Let's just put this to bed. Pronounce viewx. Viewx versus viewx, or vux. Vux. Viewx, viewx, vux. Maybe vux. We'll go with vux. let me get up the Cypress docs. See where the what is it? They're just built in. Oh yeah, spy stub spies clocks. I think I wrote this documentation. Stubs. Great. When called with, yeah, with args, I can resolve. Okay. Sci.vux.then, and that's the store. We'll say sci.stub store with args. Google login flow. Whoa. Dot resolves. Clean this up. Sorry about the screen blackout. Gotta figure that out one day. Get basic profile is the name of that function it wants. Oh, I'm in CoffeeScript. Right. Right. And I'm going to ask. Oh man, that still needs a function. Jeez. Get email. Avid gamer at example.com. Get name. Avid gamer. Get image URL. What is it? It's blank avatar. Where do I hide it? Where's my static? Static images / blank avatar. Okay, that was a big stub. Not what I expected, but it's fine. So I grabbed the view store, the Vux store. I stub its dispatch method when called with Google login flow, which is this, and then I resolve that with an object, this Google user object, that has a function, get basic profile, right? And that function returns a pile of functions, get email, get name, and get image URL. Looks right to me. And we're just gonna do this red-green refactor thing. Sorry, hold on, I got a bug. Not a bug, a compile error. Where is it? Let's see what Cypress is saying. Oh, it's in the test itself. Coffee, yeah, obviously. Gotta return that, dude. I guess. I don't know. That doesn't seem right. You're unhappy with me here. Oh, CoffeeScript doesn't wrap its return values in, or no, sorry, its functions in brackets. Sorry, ES6 has gotten so good that I... What is the deal here? The stub fired. Oh. It stole, it fired in the login on dispatch called with login. And I want it to do nothing in that case. I mean, I want it to call through. Side effects you're trying to control. Yeah. Damn. Darn. And right, that first one is login, so this is never getting called. Because dispatch is getting stubbed. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not feeling good about this. What's the problem? I'm trying to like stub too deeply and store. Does store have .actions? So I can just only, nope. Of undefined store dot. What does store have? Paperized dot store. Window dot paperized dot store. Oh, how did I do that? Yeah, window.paperized.store. This calls for a debug session. There we go. Get this out of my face. Not hide debugger. Well, yeah. Okay, I can't hide it. Current subject is this thing. Great. That's what I want to see. Commit dispatch getters strict underscore actions. There's the actions. Right, so I'm like reaching into the guts of Vux, cleaning how it works a little bit, and drat. That didn't work. That didn't work. I don't think my stuff got called at all. Let's see if it did, though. Can't see if it did. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been an exercise in failing to test. Not my favorite place to be, but I've certainly been here before. Gosh. I literally call this .login. Everything just happens. And login is an action. Go back to my debugger and just see if I can glean anything else before I abandon this line of reasoning altogether. Current subject, there you are. And this is actions. Google login flow. Wrapped action handler. Okay, so we have all these actions, action subscribers. What are the modules? That's the state. Mutations, subscribers. I'll tell you what, I think it's these Reese's peanut butter cups. All these Reese's peanut butter cups I'm eating. Talk about mouthful. I'm pretty sure that's what's making me a bad programmer all of a sudden. all of a sudden. Drat, okay. Well, that's not really what I want. I think I'm gonna... Gosh. I think we'll unit test this. My units are passing, right? Yes, I think they are. I think they are. We kill Cypress. npm run test. Oops. Test unit. All right, that works. They work. I've already got user management. Let's go see. Let's go see. Maybe this is easier than I realize, and I'm just like wasting time. Again, I would prefer units. User spec. Okay. Oh look, these tests pass because they don't exist. No wonder. Right, this is blue, right? That makes sense. And I just load the store directly. Well, you know, let's try to do this right. So there's apparently this view testing utils. Let me see real quick about guides on. Using with views, right? So you grab the view test utils, you figure out how to create a local view, you pull down Vux, you load the actions you care about, you create a local view, you make it use Vux. In your before, you configure your store, your Vux store, which just automatically gets put in there, I guess. Shallow mount apparently mounts these actions into the store, and then I can what? Actions. Dot action input to have been called. In our tests, we are reassigning the store variable's value. Mock functions need to be automatically reset. Also, let's just change the state in our tests without it affecting later tests. We create a mock Vux store and then pass it to view test utils. That's it. Right, he's doing it every time in the before each. Okay, well I think we can do this. Oh, this is actually, this actions is supposed to be a component. The actual actions are. So what do I want to happen? Do I want the login? I think what I want is for this login. I think this is the one that needs to, it's going to call Google Login Flow, and then after all that happens, it's going to then automatically call the API, the Drive API, and do the stuff that we sketched. Look for a default database, load it if it's there, initialize it if it's not there. And that'll all happen like right here. So I'm really testing this method. I'm testing this method, and I'm going to stub this method, and or I'm going to stub this action. But does this help me with that? I don't know that it does, because they don't have any of their normal actions. They're entirely like stubbed. And I'm not familiar with Jest, but it seems like they're doing some browser, some DOM manipulation stuff here. Element.value equals input.trigger input. So some stuff's happening here. I gotta wrap this stream in a few minutes too, so I'm just gonna try to do something interesting here in the last few minutes. The first thing I'm going to do is this. See if this works. Let's comment the store. All right, let's see. Can we import that view test utils thing? I have a, uh-oh. Guess who's using, oh, nope. I thought my tests were not in CoffeeScript, but they are. Let's go look at my scripts, because I think I have a watcher. There's test unit. Oh, it's dev mocha. Does the same thing, but watches. npm run dev mocha. Module not found, no! Module not found, view test utils. Test store, what? Store? Why did I call that directory store? I don't know. Oh, maybe it's just a grouping of tests for the store. Got me. Okay, I'm just gonna read the getting started. I probably did something wrong. To get a quick taste. No, I do not want to get a quick taste. I want to add it to the repo. common tips. What's test? Shallow rendering. That won't load, so Jesus. View test utils npm. Currently in beta. That's not what I want to hear. Well, so what's that one versus this one? This one's been deprecated. Move to a scoped package. Okay. Great. Finally found the npm string I needed. Let's install these test utils. I didn't know they existed. I'm a bad developer. I'm ignorant. I was ignorant. Bet it builds this time. Yeah. Great. Well, I wanted to do something interesting before it was over, and there you go. Okay. I thought these were going to update automatically. I think my watcher's not working. One test. Great. Change it. Yeah, my watcher's busted. It's supposed to auto rerun the tests whenever I make a change. So I gotta figure that out, making a note. Fix Mocha watcher. What time is it? 5 more minutes. Man, what a bummer. I want that to auto. It takes so long to refresh it every time. Does it have like a hotkey or something that I can press? Nope. No, it does not. Something in the package, dev mocha has the -- watch at the end. I probably need to tell it to watch coffee files or something. This is Mocha Webpack. Oh, I actually haven't used this since I updated Webpack to Webpack 4, so who knows. But in a much more powerful and optimized way. Watch mode. Great. So how do I make that work when it doesn't work? Oh, look at that. Watch test? Oh, no. Just watch. Oh. Test.js. I've got test.coffee. Test/test.coffee. That's right there. Bummer. Does it do it if I mess with the test file? No. Watching seems to be busted. Watching seems to be busted. Let's see if I'm using a nice late version. Oh, I'm using a beta, Mocha Webpack 2 beta. Is that right? They're at 1.1 public. Anyone wonder why I'm using a beta? Maybe this is dead with Webpack 4, who knows? Who knows? Not going to fix that now. Stream is almost over. Well, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you work, but you don't get anything done. That appears to be me today after streaming for an hour and 48 minutes. I've got very little to show for myself. Let's see exactly how much I have to show for myself. Oh, look at all this. Right, I did this. I erased the splash page. I wrote a test that doesn't work. Oh, I cleared some stuff out that we did need to clear out. And we'll take that with us. We'll take that with us. Cleared more stuff out. We'll take that with us. I added the view test utils lib. That's cool. And that's kind of what I'm working on now. Alright, so these are splash. Let's do this right. These here are ESLint changes. ESLint hygiene. Simplify splash page, and then this here will be add view test utils. I think those are going to be very handy, and the rest of this I'm going to leave as my whip, and that is going to be the stream. All right. All right. Yeah, thanks for joining me, everyone, anyone, now or in the future. I generated some good questions here. I'm going to learn them. I'm going to answer them in my free time so that I've got a little more productivity next time we meet. What did we get done? We sketched some stuff. Yeah, we sketched some stuff out here. This was probably the most productive thing. It was a lot of umming and silence as I thought through it, but I got to the simplified version of what I wanted to do, which is great. Complexity is kind of easy and simplicity is hard. So sometimes we have to wait, think really hard to get to the simple thing we need, and I think we got there. That was the sketching. What was before? Oh, before that, we did the little splash page cleanup. So this is really simple. There's two things. You either want to use the app and you just sign right in, or you want to learn more about it and you'll go to Patreon. It's ugly as sin, I get that, but it'll be easy to clean up because it's simple. And the rest of it was me sort of messing around with my testing setup and not actually getting anything tested, but I learned a lot. I definitely made hidden progress. Not progress to commit as much as understanding of what I'm dealing with and how it's going to need to be. So next time, maybe we can test drive straight through this, and I'll do the kind of boring grunt work to get that ready. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're excited to use Paperize one day. I hope you're learning about web development, the banal grinding details of web development. It'll be glamorous one day, I'm sure. Follow Paperize on Twitter. Donate on Patreon if you want to see more stuff like this. And I will see you soon. Bye!